Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We have a global audience with us today, either here or watching it later on demand. So we welcome you all to our webinar for in-store SEO. Going to walk you through the agenda. We're going to get very quickly into the content, which is why you're all here today. But we're going to be talking about the beating heart of e-retailers. So that's their in-store search engine, their algorithm, that ultimately defines where your products end up on the listing orders. We will also share with you how our tools and our team of SEO specialists are able to influence that position in such a positive way that obviously it will increase your visibility, but therefore increase your sales. We have multiple case studies that we could talk to you about today, and we looked through them all and we thought, as it's coming up to that time of year where gifting is the festive season, there was one that stood out to us that was probably most appropriate to share. So before we get into our presenters, I'm just going to share with you a little bit about the presenters themselves. So that means next slide to Martin. Thank you. So Martin, our COO and also slide master for the day. Martin's got a wealth of experience. He's worked in various agencies in multiple countries. He's also worked directly with the client as opposed to sort of with agencies like ourselves. So it gives him a great breadth of experience. And we've also got Kasia. Kasia is one of our senior project managers. She's been with us now for about 3+ years. And her experience with our methodology is second to none. She knows what we do and how we do it. She also works with us as well to help us find marginal gains for ways that we can optimize that methodology based on everything that we learn from the projects that we work on. Before I hand over to our experts, just a few house rules. We are running this today as a Google Meet. So if I could just ask you just to remain on mute for the period of the call. I'll come back to you at the end where we'll be having questions. And you can either ask those questions, again, using your voice, or you can type it in the chat. If we run out of time today to answer all the questions, please make sure you've popped it in the chat. A few of us will remain on afterwards. We've got your name, we've got your email address, and we'll come back to you with the answer. And just a note as well, if you've got pen and papers handy, we are going to record this session and it's going to be available to you after the call. So there we go. That's it from me. I'll see you again at the end. Martin, Kasia, over to you. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present. So I would like to show you today what is in-store SEO. And in order to understand in-store SEO, I would first like to go back to what is SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. And if you check on what is actually SEO, it's the process of improving the quality and the quantity of website traffic to a website or web page from search engines. And before we start, I would like to make a difference in the type of traffic, because the type of traffic has also to do with the type of optimization that we have. So SEO focuses on organic traffic. So if you take Google, for example, that is the natural results that you can find after you type in a search query. What we call SEM, or paid traffic, is search engine marketing. So that's the ads. So everything that is like, a paid positioning to be in the top, that is what we call paid traffic, and that is what falls under search engine marketing. And then the last bit in terms of traffic that you can have is what we call direct traffic. And direct traffic is when somebody's just typing in the www.eStoreLabs.com and is directly going to the web page. So we are focusing today mostly on SEO, or organic traffic. So why do we SEO optimize? And it's a joke we're always making, but actually the best place to hide a dead body is on the second page of Google, because nobody is looking there, right? And that is also exactly the reason why people are optimizing their SEO and they want to be on top of Google. Because if you are not optimizing your SEO and your pages, nobody is going to find you. So the traffic that you are hoping to increase will not happen because you are not on the page that is actually where people are actually looking. So what is then the difference between SEO and in-store SEO? So like I said, SEO is the optimization that mainly focuses on the optimization of search engines like Google, Bing, or Baidu. So this is really like the website that you are trying to find, or an article on a website. Rather, where in-store SEO focuses primarily on the optimization of search engines on an e-retailer. So pages like Amazon, Otto, Carrefour, Allegro. So rather than trying to optimize for the algorithm of Google, what we tried with in-store SEO is trying to optimize for the algorithm of the e-retailer. So that when you're typing in book, for example, my book will come first if I properly SEO optimized or in-store SEO optimized my product pages. And there's one thing that I have to explain is that improving your in-store SEO will also automatically improve your regular SEO as long as the retailer has done their technical SEO in a good fashion. And we at eStoreLabs are also very well familiar with advising e-retailers how they can improve their technical SEO. So that's something that we can always help with as well. And also today, actually in our case study, you will see what is the impact of in-store SEO also on regular SEO. So we will also show you that later during the case study as well. So why do we actually SEO or in-store SEO optimize? So why is it so important to optimize the search engines of e-retailers rather than going for optimizing for Google or first for the e-retailer? So actually when consumers start looking for new products, so they want to buy something, they are not starting their search on Google, they start their search on Amazon, or I think in Poland, for example, Allegro is a very good case where people are starting their search, right? I think Google serves more the purpose of getting product information and getting input or information about the products. But when they actually want to buy new products, they're going directly to retailers. So that's why it's very important that you're also optimizing your listings on the e-retailer, because once the consumer is ready to buy something, you want to be on the top, of course. And from our own research, we know that 60 to 70% of the purchases actually comes from the top listings on the listing page. And that refers back again to the joke about Google and being on the second page. If you're not on the top listings, you have less chance of actually selling your products. So that is also very important for in-store SEO optimization. So why do we do this in-store optimization and what can be the effects? So I have actually 3 cases here where we can see a very clear impact on SEO, because optimizing in-store SEO can have different impacts depending on what you're after and how you're measuring. So for example, in the case of the beauty manufacturer, we can actually see that once we implemented the content on the e-retailer, we actually saw that rather than around 3% of the results were from this brand, we saw that 67% was actually results from their brand. So we increased the visibility or the share of search with almost 100% because it's almost doubled. And the percentage is quite low because the page on the e-retailer is quite long. Then we've also seen cases where we have actually helped the pharma manufacturer grow their market share quicker than other brands are doing. So actually by actual sales numbers, they had analyzed that with the SEO optimization that we have done, they had increased their market share with over 30%. So that is something that is very positive. And one other case is where, and we will later go deeper into this, we saw with the toy manufacturer not only an uplift in terms of Google, but we saw when we are looking at the increase of keywords that were that their products were ranking on, it increased with 100%. So the results that were in the top 10, it increased with 100%. So this is very good because, of course, the top 10 is a place that is very important to be placed on. So the more keywords are ranking and the more keywords are in the top 10, the better visibility you have, the most likely the more you will sell as well. So how is that actually going with what I should optimize and what are the effects for that? So primary image and the product title, those are the two things that a customer is seeing once they have entered a search query. So you're searching for a certain product and you're seeing a whole overview, and based on the primary image and the product title, you have to click on a certain product. So the primary image will provide the consumer with a visual representation of the product. So this is for the consumer to understand what am I looking at, and is this the right product? The product title is mostly for the understanding of the search engine, right? Because in the product title, you can add certain keywords, which then make the search engine understand if they are showing the right products to the right queries. Of course, also for the consumer, it's a way of navigating and showing if they have the right product. But as people are more visual, they will rather look at the primary image and at the product title. So the better your primary image and the better your product title is, the higher click-through rate you have. And click-through rate, what we mean with that is the amount of times that the product was shown in the listing page to the number of where people actually clicked and went inside of the page. All right. So now you have people inside of this page, but what then? If you have people inside of the product page, what you need to do is you need to convert them, right? So secondary image and enhanced content is giving a visual explanation of the product and the features, right? So with additional images, with an explanation of enhanced content where you're showing the various product capabilities, you're trying to visually explain why your product is better than others and why the consumer should actually buy this product. So the product description and the features and benefits, they do the same, but they do it in a textual form, right? And we know from experience that yes, features and benefits and descriptions are sometimes read by customers, but generally what customers are doing is they are just scanning through this text, because generally it's a large amount of text, so they're scanning through it. But what is very important regarding the features and benefits and the description is that these are good for internal search engine as well, right? So these are places where keywords are very important. So you have to balance between telling the right story for the customer to understand the product and making sure that you have the right amount of keywords and the right keywords in your features and benefits and product description, so that this is also ranking properly in the listing page and on the search algorithm. And those four elements together, they're making sure that your conversion rate is higher, right? So the better you're explaining your product in secondary images, enhanced content, features and benefits, and product description, the higher the conversion rate eventually is. And if we look at these things together, actually you can see that a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate is making sure that there is more sales. And more sales actually is, again, making sure that there is a better ranking. So it's not keyword selection, it's more sales. So some of the e-retailer algorithms are actually working as well on the more sales you have, the better ranking they will also give inside of the algorithm. So that's why a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate will lead to more sales, and more sales again will lead to better ranking, and then it's basically a circle that is repeating itself. So last, what I would like to give to you and explain to you is we have talked a lot about our in-store SEO methodology and that it works on e-retailers, but I have to underline also that this methodology can also be applied to mobile websites of e-retailers, mobile apps of e-retailers. It can apply to B2B e-retailers, and B2B e-retailers you got to see, like, for example, a Macro or Sellgross, where you have to log into the page before you can actually see the prices and the products. So our SEO methodology is also working for that. It works for brand stores, so where There's a specific place on the e-retailer for the brand where you can even search inside of that. But it even goes further, because even food aggregators like, for example, Glovo or Rappi, we can even do our in-store SEO methodology for that. And also for like flash delivery sites like Huge, Joker or Gorillas. So even there, if you have, an FMCG product, we can make sure that with certain keywords, your listing will be higher than without our in-store SEO methodology. So I hope this gives you an input and an idea on what is in-store SEO and why it is so important. I would like to give the mic to Kasia, who will explain more about our methodology and how we are working with this.
Yes, hi everybody. So just not to prolong it, I'm sure that you are really curious how our methodology works, just bearing in mind what Martin said. So yeah, so from our experience, we know that generally basic on one source or resource of keywords, it's not enough. We need much more to gather all the keywords that we need and to prepare the awesome keyword analysis, which will then lead to perfectly optimized copy. And in the end, it will result, of course, in the higher conversion rate and higher sales. So what we take into consideration is, first of all, e-retailer input. It can be various input starting from some e-retailer reports, if there are any available, but also autofill suggestions. We also take some inspiration from Google Ads, which is really important. We do category check, and also we are checking all relevant competitors and what actually competitors are using on their product pages, which keywords they are using, and we are making sure that we haven't missed any of them. And also what I would like to say is that really important part here is ratings and reviews. It's sometimes neglected by others, but we take a closer look at it because I assure you that it brings a lot of useful insight, a lot of useful information. It also brings us with real language that customers are using regarding your product. So it's really, really important source of information. Besides of that, of course, depending on the project, depending on the product and so on, we are using also other available resources like client materials and so on. Basic on that, we compile a huge list of keywords, and basic here on our experience, our knowledge, and also relevancy of keywords, we select them into three major keyword groups, which is golden keywords, secondary, and backend keywords. Golden keywords are those ones which actually define the product. They are generally very short, like one-term keywords. And the list of golden keywords is not so long as the list of secondary keywords, which generally explain what the product is, explain more about the features of the product, the technologies, colors, like a lot of things here. And this list is more general than golden keywords, because we gather here all the keywords that could possibly describe your product, but they are very generic. And the third type of keywords is actually backend keywords, and those are the keywords that are saved on the backend of the website. This means that they are not visible for the customers when they enter the product page. However, this product page is still indexed for those keywords. So there we gather all the keywords that for some reasons, there might be like a lot of reasons, we do not put in the copy. It might be because of some legal issues of the client, but it also is about, for example, orthographic mistakes, because we need to also notice that keywords with orthographic mistakes, they also might rank high. But of course, we cannot put them in the basic copy visible for our customers because it will not build brand trust. So backend keyword list is where we put them. So this actually was the first phase of our methodology, gathering all the keywords. It's quite demanding and complex, but then we have a great base to actually get into the step number 2, which is written content creation. And written content creation has 3 main focus points and targets. First of them is search. We need to make your product findable. This is extremely important because even if you have the best copy, and you didn't include there your keywords, then your product will not be findable. You will simply lose traffic. You will simply lose sales. So first of all, we need to make your product findable. Then the second point is to make an impact. Your copy needs to make an impact. Customers do not have time. They simply do not will to dig into the copy that you created. They need to spot the crucial things just at the first glance. And for those of them who need a little bit more information about the product, about technology, capabilities, and so on, we also here meet the third aim, which is inform. Then we also provide you with our recommendations. Those recommendations are simply made basing on the given e-retailer research. We conduct a research of a given e-retailer of your choice, and then we also check what is recommended structure of the title, product description, and also bullet points. Regarding the product title, of course, it doesn't consist of sentences, it consists more of the terms and keywords. So we always check what is the recommended structure, just as you can see here in blue. Just, to convert as good as possible and also include all the crucial information that e-retailer requires. Besides of that, we also provide you with some recommendation of what is the minimum and maximum number of bullet points, for example, but also of golden and secondary keywords that should be placed also in bullet points, but also in product description. Here is actually the example of the copy that we created for one of our clients. And this is just to show you of what is the density actually of the golden and secondary keywords that we are using in our copy. Those in green you can see here are golden keywords, and those in yellow are secondary ones. So actually they all differ. So you can notice on how many terms your product actually can rank on e-retailer website. And bearing that all in mind, I have a case study for you that we conducted for our client based on our project. This client is a really well-known toy manufacturer, and we conducted conducted a case study based on the e-retailer Fnac, which is a French e-retailer. And our scope of work was search engine optimization analysis, then keyword selection per product line, copy transcription into French, and of course, optimization of keywords. Then our task was also to implement that copy, and last but not least, to gather the results. Our goal was to provide a unique copy for 17 product lines. This copy was placed in brand stores actually, so it is quite interesting case because what clients mostly focus on is the product detail page. However, here we can also show you how copy optimization also in places like brand store can have a really great influence, not only in in-store SEO, but also on more generic SEO as Google. So as I said, our background was just to create the unique copies for brand store 17 product lines. And our main goal, of course, was to enhance the product visibility. And the challenges we had here was deciding which dedicated keywords should be implemented to increase this visibility. As you could see, we have really complex methodology, and as result of this methodology is the huge list of keywords. We need to select them really carefully just to guarantee that those keywords that we selected can actually boost the visibility and in turn sales. Then our second challenge was SEO methodology adaptation to keyword per product line approach. So this is our standard procedure that we are always adapting our methodology per client, per product line, and even sometimes per product itself. However, we need also to underline here that it's always a challenge because it also requires from us some flexibility, also knowledge about product, brand, and so on. And last but not least, creating engaging content with chosen keywords while also keeping it attractive to read. It is always a challenge because it's not enough to pack a copy with a bunch of keywords. We need to make it really easily readable, and we need to make it look like we didn't put there any keyword at all. So our strategy was actually to perform SEO analysis per product line, also to create engaging and unique content per each product line, and ensure that our methodology, that in our methodology we used a great mixture of golden secondary and backend keyword, which in turn will enhance visibility. And our goal was to ultimately increase Fnacs rankings on Google, but other web-based search engines, and also to compare these previous copies, which were there by default, to the new unique copies to actually prove that our methodology is effective. And here are the results that we had. What is important to be underlined here is that actually pre-optimization results were conducted, this research was conducted by Fnac. So we didn't have actually any influence on that. They were external partner which actually checked if our methodology works. Should I reply to this question? Okay.
I already done. Yeah.
So as you can see here, we have 3 categories. First of them is number of keywords the page is ranking on, and it was on Google. Then we have number of keywords showing page in top 10 results. So top 10 results is like really best of the best. And then we have number of keywords showing page in top 3 results on Fnac. Actually, this research didn't take long because pre-optimization stage was taken in June, and then after implementation stage was in August. And as you can see here, we noticed the number of ranking keywords has substantially increased between the months of June and August. We have on average like 40% of uplift. Then the change in number of keywords showing page in top 10 results also increased drastically. On average, we would say that it's around 100%. And regarding change in number of keywords showing page in top 3, we have various results. One of them above 100, so 120%. Second one is 50%. But we also need to notice here that in some cases the e-retailer decided to shorten our copy. This means that we got rid of some of our keywords, of course, which impacted the scores for those product lines, which means they were smaller or actually we noticed no uplift at all. Yeah, so I believe that's all from my side. Do you have any questions, guys?
I think we've answered the question regarding which country it was because it was done for Fnac France. Thank you very much for the question. That is good to clarify as well. But we're more than happy to take any other question if somebody has a question about this or dermatology in general.
So please feel free to raise your hands, type it in the chat, whatever you're more comfortable with. And whilst we're just waiting for some questions to come in, massive thank you to Martin and Kasia, and bang on time. Amazing. So we've left the floor open now for, say, we'll leave it open for up to 15 minutes. But it looks like you guys may have done such a great job that we've got no questions coming in, other than the one from Daniela. Shall we assume? I tell you what, let's try it the other way. Shall we say raise your hand if you don't have a question? There we go. Okay, and we have a question from Claudia here as well. So, Martin, can you see the question okay, or do you need me to?
No, so I can open it. So to clarify, was the uplift seen on Fnac exactly like the search results on Google? So maybe I would go back to this result. So the first one, actually, the first column is the uplift that they have seen on Google, right? So on how many keywords did the Fnac page that we checked actually ranked on, right? So that's this first column. I will point it out. So that's this first column, and that's this uplift. That is on Google, the uplift. The two second ones, so the top 10 or the top 3 results, that is on Fnac itself. So these two, these are the increase on Fnac. So actually, this table is not only showing what is the uplift on Google, but it's also showing the uplift on Fnac, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Claudia. If not, then please let us know, because we're more than happy to further clarify if that didn't clarify your question fully.
Cool. So I think it's probably safe to say we can give everybody some time back in their day. Should you have any questions afterwards, and obviously to those watching on demand, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll contact you and answer your questions directly. So, oh, we have another great question just come in. Look at that, Martin, as well. One from Karen, please.
What SEO optimization example is the most impactful? Impactful in what way? Because it's maybe
so more out of the many ways that we can impact SEO optimization, which one is the most impactful based on your very knowledgeable and experience that you have in this area?
So I think it's safe to say, and I think that Kasia will also agree with me, otherwise I'd like to hear it. I think that text optimization is the one that is impacting the most, because the algorithms generally work with text, and that is what they can, process the easiest. That will have the biggest impact. Of course, we know that that's not the only thing that is actually the search algorithms are ranking. In some cases, if you have a video or not, or if you have images or not, it's also an importance to the SEO algorithm. But I think
maybe I will add something. So generally, it depends on e-retailer. We have to say that. As we just discussed, we are preparing also e-retailer analysis. We are conducting search engine analysis for given e-retailer. And from our experience, we've noticed that a lot of things have actually influence on SEO. However, it depends on e-retailers. So sorry to say that, but it depends.
But if you would have to choose, then text would be the first go-to.
Yeah, definitely. Text, yes.
And actually, to you, Kasia, I have another question as well. So do you have any data on how ratings and review impacts positively SEO? I know, of course, again, it must be probably the text that the reviewers put in there, but how is it something we can measure potentially?
I think it's measurable. I think we have never measured only the reviews.
Yes, exactly.
I know that we had, when we worked with Lazada and Shopee in APAC, we have seen very clear correlation between the reviews as well and the scores. But we have never actually measured only the reviews, but we know that the ranking and the number of reviews is also impacting the SEO algorithm for some of the e-retailers.
Yes, and also customer reviews are really important for Google as well. So we also need to underline that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry it's not fully answering your question, but it's hard to say if that and what is the impact from that only, because we have never tested that. specifically
but
for
from
that.
our experience, when we are checking even some minor e-retailers engines, it always has some influence. So I hope it answers your questions.
Well, thank you, Karen, for the question. Before we wrap up, anybody else?
We're more than happy to take more questions.
I actually have one more question, if I
please.
can.
And then we'll come to then you, then Maria. Yeah.
Awesome. So my question is a little bit more about methodology. So is the research that you conduct and the analysis based on like a manual work and seeing what type of words are the most commonly used by competition and in ratings and reviews, and then seeing what's the search volume on Google, or do you actually have like some tools that tell you exactly like what is the search query and the keyword within it inside an e-retailer?
Yeah, so it's a combination. In some cases, we have certain tools to do the checking for us. In some cases, we have to do it manually. It also depends on which country it is and which e-retailer we're actually talking about. But we're always using a combination of human and machine, because we feel that, it's very easy to automate things with tools and make our things easier. But in the end, we always want somebody who's checking after that to make sure the things are correct and all right.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thank you. Maria.
Yes, I have a question regarding the A+ pages, because I know that, for example, on Amazon, SEO on A+, like it doesn't have any influence on Amazon. A+ pages, I mean the rich content. I was wondering what the tendency is on maybe other big retailers across, let's say, Europe at least. I was just wondering how strong the influence it is, or if there is any influence at all when it comes to the rich content.
There is always influence. That depends on the e-retailer. Let's start with that. I'm very sorry to say that it depends on the e-retailer, but for some of them it has an impact. For some of them, the impact is less. But what I think, what I've known from my experience in working with enhanced content is, if the content is indexed, so if it's text, then it's also influencing the ranking on Google, right? So if it's text, if there's text, then it can be indexed by the bots of Google. If there's text on the image, then it cannot be indexed, right? But it depends on the e-retailer as well, to be honest.
Okay. I hate the phrase "depends on the e-retailer," to be honest.
I'm very sorry.
But that's what the methodology is about, right? We apply it to each and every e-retailer to get the best out of it. Jess, we have a question from you as well.
No, sorry, Gary. I think I just raised my hand to say that I didn't have a question.
No, really.
Thank you anyway.
Yeah, and maybe to add to the question also of Maria, and also the question that we've heard, and also what Kasia said, is that's the reason why, additionally to the regular SEO, we're also offering a search engine analysis. Because if we're doing a search engine analysis, we would actually analyze for you beforehand what this e-retailer, what it's very impactful in the algorithm and what is less impactful, so that we can actually also work on those specific things.
Yes, just as Martin said, we tried to show you here how important it is to be e-retailer focused on a given e-retailer, because from our experience, they have really a lot of different ways how they engine works. And what we would also like to mention, and maybe it was not mentioned on this call, that we conducted this e-retailer research, not only regarding their desktop website, but also we are checking their apps, we are checking the mobile version of websites. So we are checking if there might be some differences in those engines. So, yeah.
Cool. Everybody, I think unless we see any other questions come in, then I think it's good for us to say dziękuję, thank you. And we say thank you all for your time. We do appreciate it. And we'll look forward to sending you out a copy. And obviously, if you have any afterthoughts, any questions come up as you start going through this yourself and maybe watching the recording again, please reach out to us. We're here for you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to the presenters. And thank you to FIFA for having a World Cup on so our teams can all do well. Let's just timestamp this into the World Cup when we look at it in a few years from now. All right, brilliant. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
To Karen, yes, we'll be sharing the we'll certainly be sharing the video with you afterwards, and the deck we can put into a PDF format and share with you as well. Thank you.